Welcome to part 11 of my actual play video. My name is Roosevelt Cooper from Golden Acacia Gaming. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you how you can use the Mythic Game Master Emulator 2nd edition to play your favorite tabletop role-playing game, either solo or with a group, without needing a game master. In this particular video, I'm going to be playing the brand new 2024 Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and the character that I'm going to be playing is Kashta Napata. He's a male human paladin at level 1. Where we last left off, Kashta and his band of adventurers found their way out of the dungeon and have arrived at the bandit camp. So now we're going to do a new expected scene, and in this expected scene I expect Kashta and the adventurers to get into combat with the bandits. So we're going to roll against the chaos factor. The chaos factor is currently a 5, so we're going to roll a d10. If we roll a 6 or higher, then the scene will happen as we expected, and if we roll a 5 or lower, then the scene will either be altered or interrupted completely. So I'm going to go ahead and roll a d10, and I roll a 2. A 2 is below the chaos factor. So what that means is that the scene is not going to happen the way that we expected. So a 2 is an even number. So with an even number, that means we're going to have an interrupt scene. So what that means is we're going to have something that's going to interrupt us before we actually get to the scene where we have combat with the bandits. So with the interrupt scene, first we're going to consider the context of the adventure and the context of what's going on. The context is the adventurers have made their way out of the dungeon and are making their way to the bandits camp. Next, we're going to roll on the random event focus table. That's going to be a D100 roll. So I'm going to go ahead and roll now. And we get a 79. A 79 is PC negative. So something negative is going to happen to Kashta. Next, we're going to roll on the meaning table. I'm going to roll on descriptor table number 2 to see what negative thing happens to Kashta. First roll, 46. 46 is horrible. Oh, that's not good. Second roll, 29. 29 is familiar. Horrible familiar. First thing that I thought of for horrible familiar. Is they already fought some zombies. So I'm thinking that when they make their way out of the dungeon, as they're making their way out of the dungeon, that they get attacked by zombies again. But it specifically said something negative happened to Kashta, not necessarily the rest of the party. So what could be horrible? I got it. Kashta fell into a trap. I think he's going to trigger another trap. I think that makes sense. I think the bandits probably have some type of trap set up at the exit of the dungeon, and Kashta most likely triggered that trap. So what kind of trap did Kashta trigger? I'm thinking it'd probably be one of those net traps where you step on it and the net drops down on you from above. Alright, so we're going to have Kashta make a dexterity saving throw to see if he can avoid being captured by this net. I'll say the DC is 13. Kashta rolls a 14, so he is able to successfully avoid being captured by this net. Alright, so with that, they've been able to successfully avoid the trap. So I'm going to go ahead and have them continue to make their way to the bandits' camp, where they're going to encounter the bandits. Now, we never figured out how many bandits there were at the camp, because when we counted the bandits the first time, there was an interrupt scene and they ended up falling into the dungeon. So now let's figure out how many bandits they are. I'm going to roll, I would say, a D8, and we're going to do 8 plus 2. So there'll be at least 3, and could be more than that. We'll go ahead and roll, and we got 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. So there are 4 bandits in this camp. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and roll for initiative. Kashta's going to roll first. And he rolls a 12. Next, we'll have Ada roll. All right, she rolls a 7. Next, we'll have Jodam roll. Jodam rolls a 20. Next, we'll have Merrick roll. Merrick rolls an 11. And now we'll have the bandits roll. The bandits roll a 15. All right, so Jodam's going to go first. Jodam's our spellcaster healer expert. So I'm going to have Jodam cast Sacred Flame on the first bandit. First bandit is going to have to make a DC 12 dexterity save, or they're going to take 1d8 radiant damage. They rolled an 11, so that's going to be a failure. So we're going to go ahead and roll a d8 for damage. And the bandit takes 1 point of damage. Alright, so with that is now the bandit's turn. The bandits, we're going to go ahead and roll on the action meaning table to see what the bandits do. I'm going to roll an action table number 2. So we'll do a D100 twice. See what we get. First roll, 55. 55 is misfortune. Second roll, 42. 42 is idea. Misfortune, idea. So to me, first thing I think of is the bandits are going to pull out their light crossbow and they're going to fire all on Kashta. That's what I could think of for misfortune, idea. So with that, let's go ahead and have the bandits all attack Kashta. And then if Kashta goes down, then they'll focus their attacks on someone else. All right, so bandit number 1. That is an 18. A 18 is a hit. They're going to go ahead and roll for damage. Wow. 9 points of damage. That was definitely a misfortune because Kashta is down. All right. So with that, who are the other 4 bandits going to focus on? You know what? I'll do a D6. 1 to 2, there'll be Ada. 3 to 4 will be Jodam. And 5 to 6 will be Merrick. All right, 1. They're going to focus on Ada. Second bandit. That is a 7. A 7 is a miss. Third bandit. That is a 10. A 10 is also a miss. And then the fourth bandit. Nat 1. That is an automatic miss. All right, so Ada was definitely more fortunate than Kashta. All right, so what that is Kashta's turn. Kashta is now going to need to make a death save. So we're going to go ahead and roll a d20. He needs a 10 or higher to make a successful save. And he gets a 16, so that is a success. We'll go ahead and mark down 1 success for him. With that, it's Merrick's turn. Merrick has a short bow, so Merrick is going to fire upon the first bandit that's already wounded. He rolls a 12. 12 is a hit. So let's roll for damage. And he does 10 points of damage. That's going to be enough. The first bandit has been killed. Next is Ada's turn. Ada is going to do a... You know what? Ada... Does she have her spell slots? Let's see. She has 1 spell slot left. Alright, so we're going to have Ada cast Sleep on the 3 remaining bandits. Alright, it's a 5-foot radius, so I'll rule that she can get 2 of the bandits. So they're going to need to make a wisdom saving throw. The DC is going to be 12. And if they fail, they're going to have the incapacitated condition until the end of their next turn. Alright, so first bandit. That's a 16. That is a success. Second bandit. That is a 9. That is a failure. Alright, so one bandit has the incapacitated condition. So that means they're not going to be able to take any action, bonus action, or reaction. And at the end of their next turn, they're going to have to repeat the save. And if they fail to save again, they're going to have the unconscious condition. All right, so that is Ada's turn. We go back up top to initiative, to Jodam. And Jodam, of course, is going to try to get Kashta back up. Does he have any spell slots? He does. He has 2 slots. He hasn't used them. All right. All right, so Jodam's going to make his way over to Kashta and touch him and use the Cure Wound spell on him. So Kashta's going to regain 2d8 plus Jodam's spell casting modifier. Which is +4. So 2d8 plus 4. So 2d8 plus 4. All right, that is 14. All right, so Kashta's going to heal 14 points of damage. And I think that will be make him fully healthy. Yes, it does. Kashta is now fully healthy. We're going to mark off 1 spell slot use. And then I also need to mark off Ada's used her last spell slot. So Ada has no more spell slots. All right. The bandits go. We have 1 dead, 1 incapacitated. So I think at this point, it's appropriate to have them make a wisdom save to see if they are going to run away, because they are badly outnumbered at this point. So first bandit, wisdom save, 11, that is a success. Second bandit, wisdom save, 9, that is a failure. Yeah, we'll say the DC is 10. All right, so 1 bandit is going to run away. All right. So 1 bandit runs away, 1 bandit is incapacitated, and then the last remaining bandit is going to, well, let's roll on the action meaning table. '88. Tactic, 54. Military. All right, so I think that's going to be pretty obvious. The bandit is going to look to take cover behind a tree and then is going to attack one of the adventurers. I say probably not going to attack Kashta, since Kashta is still down at this point. We'll do the D6. 1, 2 Ada, 3, 4 Jodam, 5, 6 Merrick. All right, we got a 3, so that's going to be Jodam. Oh, he's got a nat 20. Ouch. All right, so it's going to do 2d8 plus 1 damage. Not good. All right, so he's going to do 9 points of damage, and Jodam is down. And now we're going to add +2 to his armor class because he has half cover. All right, Kashta. I'm going to say Kashta is going to get up. And he's going to, well, actually, he's not going to be able to get to the bandit because he has to use half of his movement just to get up. But he does have a javelin. All right, so we'll have him get up, grab his javelin, and throw his javelin at the bandit. So we're going to go ahead and roll for that. And that's a 9. A 9 is going to be a miss. All right, so that's Kashta's turn. Next is Merrick. Merrick is going to fire his short bow at the bandit hiding behind the tree. And he's got a 15. 15 with the +2 AC is a hit. Let's roll for damage. And he does 7 points piercing damage to the bandit. All right, the bandit is bloodied. Oh, I forgot. The other bandit that was incapacitated has to make another wisdom save. So let's do that. DC 12. And that is a 7. That is a failure. So that bandit is now unconscious. And that spell has a duration of 1 minute. So for 10 rounds, that bandit is going to be unconscious. All right, next is Ada. Ada has no more spell slots, so she's going to do a firebolt at the bandit behind the tree. That's a 7. 7 is going to be a miss. All right, back up top to initiative. We have Jodam. Jodam's going to need to make a death save. He needs to make a 10. He rolls a 3. That is a failure. So Jodam has 1 failure. All right. Bandit is badly outnumbered. I'm going to have him make a wisdom save. We're going to say DC is 15. If he does not make this save, he's going to flee. He does not make the save, so he's going to flee. The other bandit continues to flee. And it's now Kashta's turn. Kashta's going to make his way over to Jodam. And he's going to do laying on hands. He's going to use all 5 of the hit points. And that will bring Jodam back up with 5 hit points. All right, Merrick goes. Merrick is going to fire his short bow at the fleeing bandit, the one that was behind the tree. And that's a 22. 22 is a hit. And that is 10 points of damage. That bandit is dead. All right, the other bandit's too far for Ada to get to. So we're going to just let that bandit run away. We killed 2. And we got 1 unconscious. So we're going to tie the unconscious one up. And that will end combat. All right, so we have successfully defeated the bandits. And we tied one of the bandits up. 2 of them are dead. And 1 has gotten away. So with that, we're going to go ahead and end this scene. Actually, at this point, we could pretty much end the adventure, because we have accomplished both of our threads. We found the bandits and we have escaped the dungeon. So we're going to go ahead and end this adventure right here. So we have successfully completed this adventure. So as a result, I'm going to reward the party with 300 experience points each. And the party will be able to level up to level 2. So congratulations to Kashta. He is now a level 2 paladin. All right, so there's no need to do any updates to the adventure list or the chaos factor, because this is the last scene that we're going to have for this adventure. And this concludes the first adventure of Kashta Napata. So hopefully you enjoyed that. and have a good idea of how to play Dungeons and Dragons solo, giving you a number of different videos on Kashta Napata. So either I will do a new adventure with Kashta at level 2, or maybe we'll play something else. Maybe we'll play another tabletop role-playing game. All right, so take care.